Hello and welcome. My name is Evan Hale and I am here working with the UTC Office of Sustainability to talk to you about how we can be more environmentally conscious on our campus. Now, yes, I might be young, but I like to think that I've seen my fair share of the world. My family loves traveling and that's been a really big inspiration to me. So we've gone from Colorado, Louisiana to Washington, all over, and we just love hiking and seeing the beautiful nature of the world that we live in. But one thing that I find really sad is that people that love these trails and people that love hiking, they go out and they find these beautiful areas, but they want to hide it from the world. They don't want everyone knowing about these beautiful sites and landmarks because more people come and that means the more trash there is, and then that area is less pristine than what it was before, which is really sad because as humans we find ourselves being so destructive that we can't enjoy the world around us. And this issue with trash just being everywhere in landfills is a major problem in the United States as a whole, but also it is a big issue on college campuses. People are in and out constantly, and people live on campus and off campus, and there's just constantly a major flow of people, which leads to a lot of trash being produced. And so I feel like that is a really big issue because all of this trash is going to these landfills and it's just piling up and piling up, and it's just a really big issue that I feel like we don't talk about enough and we don't do as much as we can to fix. And so I feel like we all agree that preserving the earth is really important because it's the world that we live in, and that we try not to be wasteful, whether that's for financial reasons or for moral reasons, for helping the planet. And I like to think that most people, myself included, would be willing to make small, cheap changes to their lifestyle that would have a really big impact on the world. And now you may be thinking, obviously, this is really expensive, recycling is always super expensive, I don't even know what can be recycled, because I find myself thinking that as well. And honestly, it's just a plastic water bottle. What is me recycling this one thing gonna do in the big scheme of things? And those are all really valid points. But I feel like this is an issue of problem solving that I feel like we can easily address, especially here on UTC, that will lead to a better area. Because, you know, Chattanooga might not be Mount Everest or the most beautiful site in the Rockies, but I feel like we live in a beautiful city and I want to preserve it and I want to keep it as clean as possible, and UTC is a big part of this community and I feel like we can make a really big difference. So my proposition is that we should implement more effective and more accessible recycling tools for both students living on campus, faculty, and visitors coming in and out, whether that's students coming to class or people on tours, guests, etc. So, not sure if you know this, but every piece of plastic that has ever been invented by mankind still exists on the planet somewhere. And that's a crazy thought to think about because we don't see it. We throw it away and that's the last we see of it, and it's out of sight, out of mind. But all the plastic that we use day to day is still on the earth. And so I feel like that is something that just shows the reality of the situation that we're in, because that is such a major issue. If you think about how much trash you produce in a day, think about that times 300 million for the United States and the rest of the world. So my thoughts on how to solve this problem on campus is, one, to offer more education. I feel like this is really important because, like I mentioned previously, it's really easy to just think, I really don't know for sure what can be recycled and I don't want to cause problems or do something wrong, so I'm just going to avoid it altogether. So I feel like offering more education and that kind of stuff for students, faculty, all of the above would make a big impact and make people more confident and ready to recycle. I also think that it would be really important to have a recycling option at every single trash can on campus. In my dorm specifically, in the area that I live in, there is one recycling option, but it's really small and it's not necessarily ready for cardboard boxes or little things. So all of that just gets tossed in the dumpster. And those are things that can be recycled, but they don't, just because there aren't really options for it. And I find that same situation all over campus. There's rarely ever recycling options. There's trash cans pretty regularly around campus, but there aren't recycling options. And so I feel like that would be a big impact, or that would make a big impact, because you know, you don't have to walk as far, so you can easily just toss it in the recycling bin that you're already right beside. And so I feel like this can be beneficial for a lot of people, because if you're more motivated by intrinsic motivation, you know that you are making a difference and you're thinking, wow, I'm doing this for myself and for the world, and that motivates you to then recycle. But some people are more extrinsically motivated, to where they have to see the effects of what they're doing, and that motivates them. But that can easily be seen, because just the physical act of seeing yourself put something in the recycling bin makes a huge difference. And over time, once you start noticing there's less and less trash on the streets and around the area, that is a huge motivator for people. And just to go back and touch on the things that were some doubts earlier, it's really not much more per month to recycle. It seems like a really big deal, and I understand that that might be a bigger financial issue when you're at home, but living on campus, it wouldn't be that much of a bigger financial impact per month. Another thing that I feel like would help on the education standpoint is putting infographics on the bins that I previously mentioned. These infographics would just have pictures and words just describing, hey, this can go in this recycling and this is what cannot be recycled. And as mentioned previously, I feel like that would make me so much more confident and willing to recycle, because I know that what I'm doing is right and I know that it is important. So why is this important? Why is this an impact on the world? Well, it is proven that recycling actually decreases landfills, which makes sense, because as less trash is going in, landfills are gonna decrease, and the decreasing of landfills actually is found to restore natural habitats to more than they were before, because landfills just take up so much space. There's so many habitats that are being eradicated, and this is giving some hope to that by bringing those back. And so I feel like this is so important, because it's a quick and easy solution to a problem that has been building for generations and generations. And it's a problem that we're still going to have to deal with for years to come. But something just as simple as throwing away a plastic water bottle into a recycling bin versus a trash can is makes a super big impact on the world. So just imagine the story I told earlier about how hikers find these beautiful sites and they just hide it because they're scared of it being ruined and tainted by people who have no regard for trash. Imagine that's not a thing anymore. Imagine people being so confident in the rest of the human race that they want to share these sites, and you can go with your family and you can go with your friends and you can actually soak in nature, knowing that you made that happen. You were a part of keeping it clean and keeping it beautiful. So part of my life philosophy is that logic and reason are one of the most important things to live by. And this is one of the most logical and reasonable things you can do to help this process. So I just wanted to say thank you for listening, and yeah, thank you. So Ainsley, Kennedy, and Rona have joined me. Now, they weren't there for my speech, but I have informed them and they are well informed on the subject. So y'all, how has your mood changed on recycling?
I feel way more confident in what to recycle.
Okay, that's really important. So how have y'all's perspective changed on why recycling is important?
Well, my perspective has changed because, now I understand that recycling is important for the environment.
Cool. And what is something that you can implement in your life that has to do with recycling?
It's going to make me think harder about what to recycle.
Cool. And what are some ways that you think I can get this message out to UTC students?
You can post it on social media.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.